From the Homes for Heroes studios in Minneapolis, Minnesota, you are tuned in to Real Talk with Homes for Heroes. Here is your host, Seth Jessica.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Real Talk with Homes for Heroes. As always, I am your host, Seth Jessica, the Emerging Media Manager at Homes for Heroes. And what better way to kick off the first week in March with a great podcast, or if you're watching this on YouTube, a great video episode of Real Talk with Homes for Heroes with an extraordinary guest, one of my favorite Homes for Heroes real estate specialists, Eileen Scates. Eileen Scates has been with Homes for Heroes for almost 9 years. It'll be 9 years in May. And she is the broker owner of Scates Realty. And she is located in Clearmont, Florida. Welcome to Real Talk with Homes for Heroes. Hi, Eileen, how are you?
I am well, Seth. How are you?
I'm doing well. Did I say it right this time? Scates Realty?
Yep. Scates Realty and Investment Properties.
I have this issue. My vocabulary is broken because I always say realty. I don't know what my issue is, but you called me out on it. And thank you for doing that because I hate to sound, I hate for my vocabulary to sound broken. But thank you for joining me on Real Talk with Homes for Heroes. Are you excited?
I am.
Okay. Well, I know that when we were talking about doing this, we were talking about how you needed to make sure that you had your coffee ready and you needed to be caffeinated in the morning. And we are two peas in a pod because coffee is important to me. So I have my coffee. Do you have your coffee?
I got two.
You got two. So you're prepped. All right. We are fully caffeinated. We are ready to bring the heat today. And we got some things to discuss. I'm actually really excited for our conversation today because when I reached out to you about Real Talk with Homes for Heroes, there was one thing that I really wanted to talk to you about. I thought it was something that you can bring a tremendous amount of value to Real Talk with Homes for Heroes with because you do a lot of live video. And I just love how much live video you're doing for your business. I want to talk to you about it and kind of how you implement it, how your approach to it. I think it can bring a lot of value to people who are looking to do live video. But when I brought it up to you, you had said, oh, I thought you wanted to talk to me about the events that I do in the community. And I was like, well, that makes sense too. So let's talk about both because really they're both really two things that you really do well from a marketing standpoint. And I think that our audience can get a lot of value out of what you're doing. And so I want to talk to you about that. But maybe you can give us a little bit of background on your business and where you got started, how you got into real estate, and just kind of a little bit of background on your journey into Scates Realty.
Oh, sure. So I was on vacation and I worked for a company about 6 years and they decided that they were going to shut down that location. So I had two options. I could either go to the Philippines or I could go to Ohio. So I was like, no. And no. So I'm home, I am cleaning, I am bored out of my mind. I do have a toddler at the time, and I had just moved to Clearmont, so we weren't even there a year, maybe a year and a half. So I had a friend that knew I was on vacation, and she knew my background with the company, and she's like, hey, I need some help. The broker's an out-of-state broker, the front admin quit, the office manager quit, and nobody knew how to use a computer. The computer was a mess. And they all wanted to get paid. So I was like, all right, well, I'm not cleaning my kitchen anymore. So I came in. It was only supposed to be a 2-week job. And so I came in, I opened up the computer, and I was like, oh my God. Everything that they had ever done was just slapped on the front of the screen, and I was just like, oh, God, no. So I reorganized it, and I stayed there for a little bit, and, now I've worked for different independents, I've worked for different franchises, and one of the things that they liked was to build policies and procedures, programs, departments. I built several property management departments and companies. I built a call center, and about that time, my friend had gotten her doctorate, and we had been planning, and so we went to Europe for about a month. So when I came back, I find out, and this is about the downturn. So he decided he went from like 6 offices to 2, and one of mine was going down. But I had done so well with the policies and procedures book that I could take anyone off the street and hand them my book and go, here, I need you to help me, that they decided that they needed my book and not me. So I decided, okay, what do I do? Well, it was good news for other people because they were like, hey, I need a property management company. So that's what I kind of did for a while. And then I was, I don't know, then I was kind of floating. I was doing real estate. I was new to that side of the table because I was manager and trainer. And so I did a lot of 5Ks, and I did, every basket that I gave away at closing had a donation to a mammogram. That touches why it's pink. And then I met this awesome lady, and she says, hey, I saw your communities page on your website, and I want to talk to you. I think you're a good match. And that was the first introduction to Homes for Heroes. So I was in the middle of kind of finding a new home. I wasn't happy there, and we had a new company that came to the area, and they wanted me to come over. And after being burnt in the real estate industry by other managers and brokers, I was like, hey, I want it in writing. I want to make sure that I can do these things. And it took them about a month to put my contract in writing. And one of the things they denied was the Homes for Heroes. And I'm like, are you kidding? I've got my grandfathers are veterans. I've got my nephew, he's over, and he's a New York firefighter, he's EMT. I've got, you name it. I have teachers, firefighters, healthcare. My sister-in-law works at a hospital. And Homes for Heroes, once it was introduced to me, I was like, I have to have that with my company. So I'm like, okay, I'm just going to get out of real estate. I don't know what to do. Everyone's being so negative. And my dad's like, well, you've done it for everyone else. Why don't you just open it up for yourself? And I'm like, Daddy, I can't. I don't have a broker license. And he's like, well, go get one. I was like, oh, I could get a broker's license, duh.
The voice of reasoning.
Yeah. So that was it. Scates Realty Investment Properties was born, and it was a automatic Scates Realty Homes for Heroes, or Homes for Heroes Scates Realty, and ta-da! She was born.
The passion behind you, I don't even know how to put into words. I mean, the fact that you were willing to say, you know what, screw this broker owner. I'm going to do this myself because Homes for Heroes is so important to me. That's a leap of faith, and it's certainly a leap of faith that we are extremely grateful for at Homes for Heroes because, I mean, you are you've been with Homes for Heroes for so long. You have been so successful with Homes for Heroes. And most importantly, you really capture everything that Homes for Heroes stands for in terms of getting out in your community, engaging with the heroes, serving heroes. It's more than just a transaction. And really everything about you and your business captures that. So we're really grateful that you did take that leap of faith with us. And here we are, I mean, almost 9 years later, and you continually knock it out of the park year after year. So let me ask you this, because I want to get more into the event side of, the event marketing that you do, but I know that you're passionate about, more than just Homes for Heroes. You are extremely passionate about Homes for Heroes, but there are several things that you're passionate about. I know that your business is, it has branding. It's more than Scates Realty. You use hashtags, pop in the pink door. You use a lot of pink in yours, and I know that has to do with cancer awareness, and that's something that you are extremely passionate about. So causes, you are very cause-driven. I mean, if I was to, define you in some sort of way, I would say that you are very cause-driven. But how is Homes for Heroes? Because you're passionate about so many things, right? You can really say, I'm only going to focus on cancer awareness. I want my company to stand behind, but you stand behind several causes, and you continue to stand behind Homes for Heroes. How has Homes for Heroes impacted your business in the sense that you've really made it a staple of what Scates Realty stands for?
Well, with Homes for Heroes, it was hard in the beginning, like super hard. So for y'all, my baby is with me, and I guess somebody's in the parking lot, so she's just going to be telling them what to do.
That's fine, but, as long as I might bring her around for questioning and pretty soon too. Yeah.
Well, she sells houses. She sells the yards, and I sell the houses. So I don't know if you've seen my post.
Everybody needs a partner in crime to help sell.
Yeah. So hopefully she'll stop, because I'm not going to get up and yell at her. Lola, come here. I lied. I yelled at her. So when I first did Homes for Heroes, it was super hard because it was brand new to Florida. I think there was only like 5 of us, and we were like divided across the state. And Florida was huge, and
this was 2011.
Yeah, yes, 2011, because that's when I got my broker's license. So I was helping people from like Sanford to Kissimmee, St. Cloud, and I had to pack a lunch to go either way.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a little bit difficult, and so I would just basically tell people it's like a program. It's Sprint. You get a discount with Sprint. You get a discount with Disney, and now now back then we used the word discount. You get a discount with your real estate services.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to be true of heart, whether you're walking in to get somebody to buy a raffle ticket or you're trying to tell people about a program. You have to be true of heart, and they know the fakeness. It's like a fake smile. It's like versus hey,
Right. Yep.
And then I came from a family where they were all entrepreneurs and they had always done events. So I already knew how to do an event. I knew how to put an event together. And so the Homes for Heroes, the easiest way to get somebody to understand it and see that I'm not just a real estate agent trying to, force myself for you to use me, was to do the events. And Homes for Heroes had that platform. It's like, hey, we didn't have a lot of marketing stuff then, but it was okay because marketing and content is like my favorite. So it was like my creativity was just like getting out there.
Yeah.
And so that's how kind of we started modeling it that way, and it was always part of Scates Realty. If you saw the logo, in fact, I added it to my logo. If you notice, my logo has military dog tags on it. And one of the tags is got the Homes for Heroes on there, and that's been probably thought maybe a little bit after, once Homes for Heroes was transferred over to my brokerage.
I haven't noticed that detail. I'm gonna have to go check it out.
Yeah, now everyone's gonna see it. No copying.
hey, it's a trademark to Scates Realty.
Yeah, it kind of helped me out because in the beginning, you don't know. Homes for Heroes is brand new to Florida, and so a lot of people only thought that it was only for veterans and military. And then you always get the military, oh, it's not for me, it's for veterans. And then the veterans are like, oh, it's not for me, it's for the military. Or, I don't deserve it. And, I don't know if you've noticed, but I'm a little redhead pushing this. So I made sure that they knew that, yes, they deserved it.
Yep. Well, and I think even with like the teachers, when you hear about a brand or a company or a program called Homes for Heroes, as a teacher, you're not going to automatically default to say, oh, that program's for me. So there is an education process that is needed for the heroes in our community, because teachers are heroes, and they're not trained to think of themselves as heroes, probably more so than military or veterans. And you're correct. They're all humble. They don't get into their line of work for the rewards. They get into their line of work because they have a calling in life to serve others, to help others, and they're very humble about it. And a lot of times the rewards is something that they're just a little bit hesitant to partake in. So I think that to your point, the events and the platform that Homes for Heroes provided for that, and I know that you are extremely, extremely active. So I think that you provided a nice segue to this, to the events that you do, because you do a lot of events for Homes for Heroes, and you have already stated that it was kind of your platform to start with event marketing. But I know that you are very active in several events. So let me ask you this. Let me start here. Throw out a number. How many events do you think, whether it's a fundraiser or just a community event, how many events do you think that you participate in each year?
Well, I'm old now, so I don't do as many, but I probably do. In the beginning, I was probably doing about 30 a year. And then I think I'm down now to maybe 15 or 20. Then there's now I either attend the events or I participate as in setup. But then there's a few of them that I actually am a board member, or I participate in the whole process of the event. So it just depends on what it's for, what the actual event is. And a lot of times in the beginning, people were like, I see you everywhere, Eileen's everywhere, and then it got to the point where I wasn't even at that event, but they knew they saw me there. So I was like, ooh, I have arrived.
The brand awareness is real.
Yes. So much so, 3 years ago, officially, I moved into this building, and I didn't tell anybody. Nobody knew that I was moving. Nobody, because people were like, oh, your doors are closed. So the IT company wasn't allowed, the camera company, no one literally was allowed to say that what they were doing in this building. And they were here for about 45 days. And I start getting all these text messages and calls congratulating me on my move. And I'm like, all right, who talked? I am going to beat them down. And so I finally called one of the ladies, and I was like, how do you know I moved? Who told you? And she's like, oh, I saw your pink doors. And I was like, oh my God, my pink doors, duh. So my doors had been installed, and so everyone knew I was up on the hill. So my tagline that year was follow the pink door to its new location. So okay. Yes, branding has definitely helped me here.
So let's talk a little bit about that, because I know that's something that is very important to your branding. It's an integral piece of your business's branding, and I think most of us will probably assume that that has to do with awareness, cancer awareness. And I could probably use this whole episode of Real Talk to promote all the great things that you're doing with Homes for Heroes, but
that'd be a long one.
Yeah, but you are passionate about cancer awareness too. So talk a little bit about the branding with Pop in the Pink Door and the pink branding and the cancer awareness. Can you give us a little background on why you got so immersed into that piece of your business's branding? So
the pink kind of, I was doing a lot for breast cancer, and if you came to my office, you were like opening up your wallet. You knew I needed to check. You were going to come join me and run a 5K. You were going to buy tickets to a raffle, because everything that we were doing was raising funds and awareness for just breast cancer. We had a family member that was battling it, and then I realized how much money wasn't going to the actual people in need, the patients, the families, and so I was looking for a different resource to have my funds and my volunteer time go. My time is super precious, and if a volunteer isn't appreciated, they don't have to volunteer for you. They don't have to give you the money. And I wanted a place where I could find where I could get awareness, still support, and know that the majority, at least 90%, is my threshold that goes to the patients and the families. And so I had found GCCF, which stands for Greater Claremont Cancer Foundation. And even though it's Claremont, it helps Lake County. So the pink stayed because people were already at the point where, hey, I saw pink and thought of you. And I can't pay for that kind of branding. And it was true, it was real, and that was part of the company, and that was part of the color, and it was automatically known as sincere.
Well, and I think that's what is so important to branding, right? Is that it's sincere. I mean, you can't fake branding. You have to be 100% authentic with your branding. It has to really stand. Your branding has to represent what you stand for, and I think that's what Scates Realty does. It's, it stands for Homes for Heroes. It stands for, cancer awareness through the pink branding that you use, and it stands for community and how involved you are with the events in your community. So I don't think that there's any way that you could be anything but sincere with your branding and not be successful. So let me ask you this, because you are very involved in your community, you are very passionate about particular causes with Homes for Heroes, and through cancer awareness. How do you select the events that you participate in each year? Because there's so many to choose from, and you could probably spend every second of your workday working on events, and it seems like you already do because you are so involved in your community. But how do you choose the events that you decide to get involved in, and is it based on the importance of the cause, or how do you determine that?
Well, I will say, like in the beginning, I told you I was doing events all the time, and it's event season right now. So I didn't really care what the particular event was per se. I wanted to know it was in the community, who it was supporting, and I did the event because I had, you name it, and I have it. I've got hero masks, I've got coloring books, I've got all these different games, I've got a life-size Jenga, I've got the cornhole. I didn't know what a cornhole set was. Somebody made it for me, and it's in it says Homes for Heroes on it. And it was community events. So what I would say to somebody out there is, if you're brand new or you're trying to get your name out there, do an event. But make sure that you have steps in place and you utilize the event. Now I'm a lot pickier. The event has to be around my four loves, and then it also has to somehow give back to whether it's the community or a fundraiser or something. So my four loves, if you don't know already, is my military and veterans, my cancer, Miss Lola. She is from the Animal Society, so she's a rescue, so animals, and of course children and families. So I've done, like with New Beginnings, we help children and families that are just starting. There's a women's group with just women and children, then there's a men's home. But all of these charities have some kind of also veteran attached to it. So like the veterans homes, cancer, I've dealt with friends that have Agent Orange, so those four loves, because they're true to our office and our company and our heart, people can feel it. They know it. They don't have to say, "Oh, Eileen they just do it for whatever." They know that I have a personal interest, and one that we're doing this year, I have a personal interest. The fundraiser is called Organization, and it's for organ donors. My daughter-in-law needs an organ transplant. My husband's aunt just had a double lung transplant. So it's kind of like, the more personal it is to you, the more real, and it is felt. I mean, you can feel it through a screen when I'm doing a live video, so you definitely can feel it when you see me in live.
Oh, absolutely. And I actually want to ask you about that, because I know that the live events or the live videos in your events are very closely related. But let me ask you this before we get into the live video and how you use that. Let's get to the brass tacks of this event marketing, and probably what our audience is going to want to take away from this. One, you already kind of alluded to this in saying, if you are just getting started, get involved in events because it gets your name out there. But what is the impact that event marketing has had on your business? And then two, what recommendation would you give to any real estate agent or mortgage lender who is looking to just get started in event marketing?
Okay. Find out. Don't be afraid to ask for help. In our Homes for Heroes Facebook page alone, I even put in there a top 10 list of what you need to do. Find out what your audience is. Because if it's not an audience or a cause that you believe in, you're going to sit there with people are going to have to tell you to tell your face. So make sure it means something to you. Find your audience. Have a way to be able to collect names, whether you collect a door prize. People know you're going to call them. Make sure you put notes on the back of the ticket. And if it's a smaller event, those are sometimes really good because they're personal. Ask the event coordinator, hey, I sponsored the event, will I get a list of all of the attendees? Most times you're going to get either the email address or phone number, mainly an email address, and do something about it. Don't just let them sit there. I send thank you cards. I am not the person to ask to do a phone call. I'm not going to door knock unless it's specific. but I will send a thank you. And it's such an old school, still loved tradition. I just got thanked for coming out to support the community. Utilize that information. You can find their addresses in MLS and stalk them.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, I'm sorry, but just going back to that, you said old school, but yet so valued. I don't know anybody who doesn't really appreciate a handwritten thank you note. I mean, it might be old school, but it's like one of those things that I think it's a tradition, just like opening a door for a lady or saying please and thank you, that can never ever be out of date. It's so effective and it's so valuable.
It is very appreciated.
Yes.
Like, I'm a member of this one group, and I think I'm the baby as far as the age group, and I've already said it once before. I'm kind of old. They will not support you again if they do not receive a thank you card. That's just, to them, it's a respect factor. If they don't get a thank you card, they're unappreciated, and they feel that you don't need them. And they'll go to the next one, because there's a lot of charities in the area.
Yep. Absolutely. So let me ask you this, because great tips on asking for advice and asking for help and going through those steps. So anybody who is considering getting into event marketing, and I know that you are very multi-channel in your approach to marketing. You use digital marketing, but you also use traditional marketing and event marketing. You are truly a multi-channel marketer. I think a lot of people are shifting towards a more digital approach, right? I'm just going to rely on social media, or I'm just going to rely on, paid advertising. But even me, who is a strictly digital marketer as an emerging media manager, I would always recommend to somebody, do a multi-channel approach. You can't just rely on social media. You can't just rely on paid advertisements. You can't just rely on SEO or blogging or video. You have to, get out into the community. You have to talk to people. You have to introduce yourself. So what is the biggest impact that event marketing has had on your business?
I'm real. People really see me. I'm not just a real estate broker. I'm not just another agent. We have 185,000 real estate agents in Florida. I have 800 and change of real estate agents licensed in Lake County that they work in Orange County. I'm no different than another real estate agent, but where's the but? You need to have that extra why. Why are you going to use me? Why do we want to use her? And most people, it doesn't matter if they've seen you online or word of mouth. They want to know what your cause is. They want to know that they're going to support a local company, and they're going to support a local charity, and they know that I'm sincere. I sell real estate. I have to remind people I do have a career. I do sell real estate. I'm not just an events coordinator.
Right.
Although if I won the lotto, I would be one amazing volunteer.
Yeah, you definitely have another career if you ever get out of real estate.
Oh, goodness. I love content creation and marketing. That's my favorite. I will take somebody from, they have 5 friends to a few hundred, and, it's I love doing it. But you have to be out there and real. It's the whole shaking hands and kissing babies. Although I don't like hugs, so,
All right, duly noted. So let's get into, I want to talk to you about live video, and I want to be respectful of your time. So I want to make sure that we have time for that, because that is such an important topic. So I just recorded an episode last week, the monthly roundup for February, and I did digital marketing trends at the beginning of the year for 2020, and this is not a self-plug or a shameless plug, although it kind of is too. I talked a little bit about video, how important video is. Inman Connect in New York, they mention video. It's always, the top digital marketing trend that real estate agents need to be focused on in 2020. It was in 2019. It hasn't changed. And you are riding that trend, and you're not just riding that trend, you're driving that trend, because you are so involved with live video. And I think So let me ask you a question, similar I did with events. How many live videos do you think you do per week?
Oh, okay. So I do mainly 2 per week.
Is that it?
That's it. That's
okay,
it.
I'm not saying
saying
that's too little, but
all right. First of all, last year is the reason I started it, and I only did 1 per week for a little bit, and then 2 per week around an event, and that was Bras for the Cause and Boxers too. But I really am only doing 2 lives on purpose per week.
Okay. I'm not knocking you for only doing 2. It seems like you're doing 5. That's why I'm saying like only 2, because it seems like you're doing more. So you're doing 2 per week, and you got into it last year because of the causes that you're championing, and
it was actually for the American Legion.
Oh, it was.
Yeah.
So
it
tell
started.
Tell us a little bit about that.
Okay, so I am the president of the American Legion Auxiliary at Unit 55, and we burnt down 4 years ago. And we needed to, we went through a lot of drama, and we won't even touch that. That's another drinking game. But we were finally to the point where we were almost done, and I was so aggravated and tired of saying the same thing over and over and over again. And of course, in the background, I've got a marketing rep telling me, you got to do some videos, Eileen. And I'm like, I don't want to. Don't make me. It took me 2 years of telling her no. So I started my Red Shirt Fridays tag video. And my first video was such a mess. I ended up recording it. I thought I was going to hyperventilate. And then the following week, it was like, okay, I just got to do it on Fridays. Well, then I had the Bras for the Cause and Boxers too, and I was taking on the auction. Our company decided that we were going to step it up a little bit and take over the auction, so we started Wednesday videos. And so now we call the Wednesdays videos hashtag Ping Wednesdays, and my Friday videos are hashtag Red Shirt Fridays. And so those videos, I literally, honestly, only do 2, but like this weekend I was at an event, so I did a live and promoted that.
Okay. All right. So, and you are doing these, so you started out on Facebook, correct? You were doing live videos on Facebook.
Yep.
And this year, you have evolved. Am I correct?
I've evolved, yes.
You're doing YouTube now.
Well, sort of. We're downloading them to YouTube.
Well, okay, but you're doing video to YouTube, which I think is extremely important, because you're doing it on another channel, and you're not recreating the wheel, but you're just exposing yourself to another audience on YouTube as well as Facebook. So, I'm
a big girl now.
Yeah, I think that's so cool, because I think we tend to focus on just one platform, and I will say that Facebook was a lot for me initially, but I think with recording video, I think is so important. I'm glad to see that you're utilizing the other video platforms out there, and I think that, I'm going to get knocked for this, and my colleagues at Homes for Heroes are probably going to be like, oh my gosh, Seth, I can't believe you just mentioned that. I'm actually using TikTok now because I absolutely love TikTok. I'm going to do an episode on Real Talk with Homes for Heroes about TikTok and how real estate agents can be accessing their platform. But getting back to your point, or to the point that you're actually using multiple platforms for your video, and I think that's so important, whether it's live or not. I mean, just putting that content out on YouTube, I think, is extremely important. But you had also mentioned one thing that I think is very common, if not across the board with everybody. You almost hyperventilated on your first video, right?
I was a mess.
And I think that's where everybody stops, right?
Yeah,
that's where everybody stops, because I personally experienced the same thing. I still have video recordings or podcast recordings where I get butterflies, I get a little bit nervous, and I tend to overthink it. I still do that on occasions. And I think that's where most people stop. And I just want to say congratulations and kudos to you for persevering and continuing on with that, because you are now at a place where you do actually enjoy it. Am I correct? Don't let me speak for you.
I do enjoy it. I'm at the point now where I'm like, Lord, screw it, I don't know what I'm doing, but I see y'all watching, so hey. And that's just, I think that's another way to show that you're real. You know, I'm not this fake Barbie doll person that's trying for perfection. Nobody's going to be perfect. Even if you recorded it, you would have to do it 50 times and you still won't be happy.
That is truth.
I still get nervous. And if you notice, I will speak super fast.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'll be like, thanks for letting me ramble because I sure forgot what I was going to say.
Well, if there's a happy medium between you and me, I speak really slow and it drives me nuts. I will notice that sometimes I have a hard time articulating what I want to say, and I tend to speak very slow. But then I hear people like you who say, well, I speak way too fast and I feel like I rambled on. The truth is, there's no perfect way. I mean, everybody is unique in how they deliver their content on video, and I completely love the way that you deliver your message on video, and I don't think it's too slow, or I don't think it's too fast. I don't think it's too... I wish I could speak I wish I could articulate, as you can see, I'm already having trouble, articulate my message as concisely as you do. So kudos to you for doing that.
Well,
I think it's absolutely awesome. And I do agree with you. It's just another way to show that you're authentic, that you're real, and that you're just not throwing memes up on social media. So I think it's absolutely valuable. So let me ask you this.
Now wait, I do like a good meme war.
Oh, don't get me wrong. I will throw memes out there all day long, and I enjoy them. I mean, excuse me. There's a reason why I'm on TikTok is because I enjoy the video memes now, but
no, I don't have time for TikTok.
Yep, and I get that. But let me ask you this. So any real estate agent, mortgage lender who is looking to get involved in video, which everybody should be looking at video, and whether it's live video or just pre-recorded video that's published later, you should be looking at video in some sort. What advice would you give them, being that you've been through that grind in being extremely nervous and being extremely anxious about recording a video to actually going to the point now where you actually are doing it on a regular basis? What recommendation would you give to anybody or advice to anybody that's looking to just get involved in video, whether it's live or recorded?
I would say you have to have a reason. Why are you going to do this live call? Because if you have a reason, you have a cause, you're going to be more passionate about why you're going to be on live, and you're not going to worry about how you look. I mean, for God's sakes, I went and I threw perfume on, I do deodorant, I made sure my lipstick was good, but the minute I got on my live call and the passion was focused and it was no longer about me, it was about my cause, my building burnt down and why, what happened, and this is what we were going to do, and this is why I'm doing a live video. And it doesn't matter if you see pop-up questions or if you see a bunch of likes or no likes. Just think of it this way: you're talking to yourself and you're recording it. You don't have to have the mindset that, oh my God, Facebook is watching, because your first few lives, nobody's watching unless you told somebody, hey, tell me if you can hear me, if I'm straight, if I look a mess. But other than that, then like a year later, after I was doing my Red Shirt Fridays, I get now and I forget, and I get, hey, I'll see you later, and I was like, do we have an appointment? Let me look at my calendar. And then I'll send a text. I'm like, are we meeting somewhere? And she's like, no, I have it set. So as soon as you go live, it notifies me. So I can't wait to hear about this week. And I was like, oh God, hey, I have an audience.
You built the expectation.
I did. And so with whether you do it by yourself, I did a few interviews, and now I actually will do an interview with somebody to get them comfortable, and then now they do their own Facebook Lives. So I don't mind doing those either. And it was kind of nice as a comfort factor for me to tell people it's okay to be scared, it's okay to be uncomfortable, it's okay to be by yourself or with somebody else. And it doesn't always have to focus on your face or you. You can have a photo backdrop. Like the live I did over the weekend was, me over at my fundraiser. And it just gets you more comfortable. Just kind of be a little bit prepared. It takes me about an hour or so to prepare for each video.
Mm-hmm. That's absolutely true. Yeah, I find it hard for myself to get on a video and not be prepared. If I'm just going to strictly have a conversation with somebody, and even for this podcast, I would have been completely comfortable getting on a show with you and talk, because I love asking people questions. I did outline stuff and I prepared it so we could be on the same page or whatever, but if I'm going to record Real Talk with Homes for Heroes or some kind of video, I have to prepare myself. What am I going to talk about? How am I going to talk about it? This and that. So I completely agree with you. The other thing I would say that you mentioned is that you have to stop focusing on yourself, because it's not about you. And I think that, yes, you want to make sure that, you are presentable. I mean, I wouldn't suggest showing up to record a video where you look like you just rolled out of bed, but at the same time, you don't have to be perfect. You don't have to be, take me as an example. I stumble a lot with my speaking. I'm not, as I've already stated, I'm not the most, I don't state things the most concise. I don't articulate points the most or the best. But that's just who I am, and the only way that I'm going to get better at it is by doing it over and over again. So don't get caught up on, am I perfect? Am I saying exactly what you'll never get there. You will never get there. It's a journey, and you have to be able to start from someplace. And I think that, I'll have to be honest with you, Eileen. I did not see your live videos last year because I wasn't on Facebook a whole lot. I know. I'm sorry.
I'm hurt.
I know, but I wasn't watching anybody's videos on Facebook last year, so it wasn't you. But
you were sucked into TikTok.
Yeah. I will say that I can't say that I've seen your journey, but I can say where you are now, you are doing so well with video, and it's just so inspiring for me, for other people to see how you're doing videos and to see how you're using it out in the community to bring awareness to the things that you're passionate about. And I really truly think that is what our real estate agents and mortgage lenders who are tuning into Real Talk with Homes for Heroes, what they can do is they can take a page from your playbook, and they don't necessarily need to do everything that you're doing, but they can see what you're doing, and they can say, what do I like about Eileen and what she's doing with her business, and what am I comfortable with doing, and how can I integrate it into my business? And I think that's something that they can really take from you in a page from your playbook. So let me ask you this. I'm putting you on the spot here because I did not prepare you for this. Can we share your social media handles with our audience, so if they want to go see what you're doing, they can check it out?
Yeah, they can come stalk me on Facebook. I'm there a lot more. So for me personally, I'm on Instagram. I don't like it.
Okay.
Stick with what you're comfortable with first, because you're already nervous about video. So if you're comfortable with Facebook, do Facebook. If you're comfortable with that craziness on TikTok, do that. But I think that's only like a small platform, like a Twitter. It's just a small video clip, correct?
You can do 15-second videos or 60-second videos. So yes, it's not like it's micro content.
Yeah, so you don't. It's like a Twitter account. You're limited. So do something that you're comfortable with and go with that. I am super comfortable with Facebook, and that's where I started, and then just went from there. So I am moving to YouTube is my goal this year, and TikTok is not. And Instagram, I'm going to get better at it. But because I don't like it, I don't feel as I'm as real. But because I like Facebook, I'm real, I'm comfortable, and so it just makes sense that way. And you can, some of my hashtags are Pop in the Pink Door, Red Shirt Fridays, and I love that now I see more and more companies getting company shirts. So I have a Scates Realty Red Shirt Friday for our office, and I love the fact that I'm seeing other people do that, and and they're learning what red means. It wasn't, they thought it was a color. It's not a color. It stands, it's acronyms. Real estate and military, we have acronyms. So
remember everyone deployed.
Yeah, and if you're like, so I will stumble on something, or somebody will tell me something, and I won't be able to get the words out, or sometimes I'm so passionate that I get word stuck. Use that to your advantage and be like, you know what? Next video, come check me out on Friday. I am going to have more details about Agent Orange and melanola, and I can't even say it, so I'm going to learn how to say it by next Friday, and come meet me here. And then so next Friday, now definitely be prepared to say it. Definitely know more information about not only Agent Orange, how it happened, and what you can do, but, and I'm not just saying that, but I'm using that as an example, and that'll get you comfortable on whatever platform you choose.
Absolutely.
Did I answer that question? Because I think I rambled. I got a little passionate there.
No, I think what you said was absolutely important. Yeah, start with where you're comfortable with. I don't think, and I would say equally important is don't try and tackle everything all at once. Get comfortable with where you're starting. If you're comfortable on Facebook, start with Facebook and evolve as you get more comfortable. So don't try and do Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, TV all at once, because it can become very overwhelming to try to learn all platforms all at once. Start where you're comfortable with that. Just like you said, start on Facebook. Once you've mastered Facebook, you're comfortable with Facebook, then do Instagram TV or take on YouTube, one of the two, and you can learn those platforms and get your content. Much like what you've done with your strategy. You started out on Facebook, you started where you had an audience, you started where you're comfortable at, and then you have now evolved into producing content for YouTube. And I think that is a very smart approach. And I would say, if you want to see what Eileen is doing in terms of content, video content for Facebook and YouTube, I'll put up a handle on the screen here so you can go over to her Facebook page or her YouTube page and check out what she's doing. I'll also put links in the description to this show. If you're tuning in on your favorite podcast directory, you might have to go over to YouTube because these dang podcast directories don't always allow me to put links in them, but I will provide links to your Facebook and YouTube page so people can check it out, because I really think that they could take a page from what you're doing and just take little pieces and integrate it into their own business. So
yeah, come stalk me.
Yeah, absolutely. And I will say this, Eileen, thank you so much for your patience. We talked about this last segment about recording video, and some of our audience who are tuning in might be able to notice. They might not be able to notice. We'll see. We'll see how good my editing skills are. But we had a lot of difficulties with the technology behind the recording of this episode, and I really appreciate you willing to stick with me and getting it figured out. And this is just living proof right here that it just is never perfect. It's not I've been doing this for over a year and I still have problems, I still have issues, and you just work through them. And I really appreciate you coming on Real Talk, and I promise you the next time that you're on here we will not have these issues, because I will have them figured out by next week. But
technology.
It is what it is. We can bang our heads against the wall all day long about it. So thank you so much for joining me, Eileen. Would you come back?
Oh, absolutely. I loved it.
Okay. All right. Well, I'll get the technology figured out. So everybody who is tuning in on your favorite podcast directory, thank you so much for tuning in to Real Talk with Homes for Heroes. We certainly appreciate it. If you are tuning in on YouTube, make sure that you subscribe to the Homes for Heroes YouTube channel, and make sure that you hit the like button if you did find this video helpful, and make sure you hit the notification bell. That way, every time we publish a new episode of Real Talk with Homes for Heroes, or a great video that I produce every week, Digital Dive with Homes for Heroes, you'll get notified, and we'll deliver this great content right to your doorstep. And thank you so much for tuning in, and I look forward to seeing you guys next week.